Welcome to the Weight Management module for trainers. We've designed this as a companion to your trainer's guide to help you visualize the recommended steps for sharing information about managing weight effectively. As a trainer, your goal is that by the end of the session, participants will be able to identify risk factors for being overweight and obese, explain how BMI, which is body mass index, is used to measure body fat, list several medical conditions associated with obesity and being overweight, describe methods used for weight management, and prepare an action plan. Here's a quick overview of the flow of a complete weight management session. The introduction should take around 10 minutes. A group activity titled Yes or No should take around 15 minutes. A second group activity titled My Enemy should take around 30 minutes, and the third group activity, for which activity cards are provided, will take around 20 minutes. Allow 10 minutes for discussing the action plan, and closing the session should take around 5 minutes. You may decide to omit this group activity if you're conducting a 60-minute version of the session. Now that you've seen the big picture, let's talk about the materials you'll want on hand before your participants arrive. Here's a checklist of materials that will help the session go smoothly. Check that you have a flip chart, markers, pencils or pens, name cards, and optionally refreshments. There are 3 handouts for this session: a BMI chart, an action plan for losing weight or managing weight, and Weight Management, What You Need to Know. Print out enough copies for all of your participants before the session begins. There are also worksheets and activity cards. The Yes or No worksheet for Group Activity B has one version for participants and another version for you. You'll only need 4 copies of the participants' version since you'll be dividing the participants into 4 groups, and each group will get 1 sheet. The same applies to the My Enemy worksheet. There are 2 versions, and you only need to print 4 copies of the participants' version. There are 4 activity cards and only 1 version of each. Just print 1 copy of each card. You'll find all originals in the printable materials section of your trainer's guide. These cards are used in Activity D. Lastly, prepare an attendance sheet so your participants can sign in when they arrive. With your materials in order, you can begin introducing the session. Topic A of the Trainer's Guide covers everything you'll need for getting the session started. As the participants enter the room, greet them warmly to create a welcoming atmosphere. Ask each person to sign the attendance sheet. Write each participant's name on a name card and make sure the card can be seen. After all participants are seated, introduce yourself formally to the group. Ask participants to introduce themselves and provide a simple guideline about what information they should share. For example, you might ask that they state their name, their hometown, and a favorite hobby. After the introductions, explain that the session will last 60 minutes or 90 minutes, depending on the time you've allowed, and tell the participants what they can expect. You can state that there will be group discussions about weight management, a variety of activities for learning about managing weight in a fun way, and opportunities to think about and share ideas about managing weight. Make a special point to encourage participants to ask questions at any time during the session. Remember to mention where the restrooms and water fountains are, especially if there are participants who are unfamiliar with the location. Before you begin the actual content of the session, ask the participants for suggestions about setting some ground rules for the next hour or 90 minutes, and write their suggestions on the flip chart. Keep the rules visible someplace in the room throughout the session. Your group is likely to come up with their own ideas, but typically it's good to include turning off cell phones, keeping all discussions during the session confidential, feeling free to ask questions, and avoiding sidebars by directing all questions to you or to the entire group so that everyone can hear the discussion. The yes or no activity is the first activity of the session. The purpose of this activity is to share information about being overweight or obese. You'll be using your markers, the flip chart, pens or pencils, and the 4 copies of the yes or no worksheet you printed. We'll explain the flow of the activity first and then talk about the information you'll be presenting. Start by dividing the participants into 4 teams and give each team a copy of the participants' version of the yes or no worksheet. Explain that they have 5 minutes to answer yes or no to each statement on the worksheet. They should answer yes if they agree with the statement or no if they don't. When the 5 minutes are up, review the answers to each of the questions with the whole group. The team with the most correct answers will be the winner. After the questions are discussed, your job is to explain the correct answers or provide additional information. Use the worksheet for the facilitator version for the correct answers, and the key points box in the trainer's guide has supplementary information that we'll discuss in a moment. After you cover the key points, call attention to the team that had the most correct answers and, if you can, provide small rewards like pens, cups, or pill containers. Now that you've seen the general flow for the activity, let's talk about the key points to cover. There are different reasons why people may be overweight or obese, and some of them include consuming excess calories, eating the wrong types of food, not getting enough exercise, having an illness that leads to weight gain, taking medications that may cause weight gain, and family history. So how does a person know if his or her weight is healthy? Body Mass Index, or BMI, is a tool that estimates the total fat on a person's body. BMI can help indicate if a person is at a healthy weight, is underweight, overweight, or obese. There are also charts and tables available for estimating the amount of fat in the body based on the height and weight of the person. Distribute the BMI chart for adults handout to each participant. You can explain that, in general, an adult with a BMI below 18.5 is considered to be underweight. 18.5 to 24.9 is normal weight. 25 to 29.9 is defined as being overweight, and 30 and above is categorized as being obese. Explain that your healthcare provider can help you find your healthy weight, and that he or she may look at other things like diet, family history, activity level, medical conditions, and medications. These factors may cause weight gain and may make it hard for you to lose weight. Your healthcare provider will also look at where the fat is on your body. Some people build up fat around the waistline, giving them an apple shape. Too much fat around the waist can increase the risk for heart disease and diabetes. The risk goes up for women with a waist greater than 35 inches and for men of average height with a waist greater than 40 inches. Avoid reading these key points word for word. Instead, speak naturally and maintain eye contact with the participants. Finish the activity by thanking everyone for their participation. The next group activity is Activity C in the Trainer's Guide, and it's called My Enemy. The purpose of this activity is to help the participants understand how being overweight or obese may affect their health. You'll need your markers, the flip chart, pens or pencils, and 4 copies of the participants' version of the My Enemy worksheet. As before, we'll outline the process for this activity and then talk about the key points to cover. To start the activity, divide the group into 4 teams and give each team a copy of the My Enemy worksheet. Let the teams know that they have 5 minutes to write in the names of the medical conditions they consider to be linked to obesity, and that the whole group will review the answers after the time is up. Tell them that the team with the most correct answers will be the winner. After each answer has been given, your job is to provide a brief explanation of each of the conditions associated with obesity. The facilitator version of the worksheet includes the conditions, and you'll find complete information in the Key Points box for Activity C in the Trainer's Guide. As you go over the key points, remember to maintain eye contact with the participants. We'll go over each point now. Being overweight or obese can affect your health, and it's much more than a problem with the way you look. And that's because many serious medical conditions have been linked to being obese. For example, heart disease. Overweight or obese people are most likely to have high blood pressure, high levels of cholesterol and triglycerides, and that can lead to heart disease. Another condition is high blood pressure. There are several reasons why obesity causes hypertension. One factor seems to be that the excess adipose or fat tissue secretes substances that are acted on by the kidneys, and that results in hypertension. High cholesterol occurs when there is too much fat in the blood. A stroke may occur when the brain doesn't receive enough blood supply because of a blood vessel obstruction or rupture. One of the reasons for type 2 diabetes is the extra fat in the body that interferes with insulin function, causing blood glucose levels to rise. With osteoarthritis, joint cartilage breaks down. Obesity puts more stress on hip and knee joints. There are also other diseases and health problems that stem from obesity. For example, gallbladder disease and gallstones, which are hard stones that are usually made of cholesterol. Gout is a disease that affects the joints. People with obesity may have breathing problems, including sleep apnea, which is when breathing stops for short periods of time or is too shallow while sleeping. There are some cancers, such as kidney, uterus, and breast cancer. There may also be an association between obesity and prostate, colon, rectum, and thyroid cancer. Overweight or obese people may often feel unattractive. They could suffer emotionally, and this situation can lead to feelings of rejection, shame, or loss of self-esteem, and depression. Conclude this activity by thanking everyone for their participation. The next activity is item D in the Trainer's Guide. The purpose of this activity is to support participants in understanding how important it is to manage their weight and identify different approaches for losing weight. You'll need your markers, the flip chart, and the 4 activity cards you printed, each with different information about weight management. Start this activity by explaining that they'll be learning about weight management. You'll find sample instructions for introducing this activity in the Trainer's Guide. You'll use your own words, but you can start with something like, "Now to start, we're going to conduct an activity. It'll be fun and easy, so just relax and I'll explain what we'll be doing." Once you've introduced the activity, divide the group into 4 teams, then give each team one of the activity cards you've printed. Each team will read the information and discuss it. Tell them not to worry about memorizing all the information on the card, because the main purpose is for them to understand the information. Let them know that they'll be asked to select one team member to report back to the group to explain the information on their card and share their team's comments. Give the teams 5 minutes to read and discuss the information on their card. Let the teams know when there are about 2 minutes left so they can start finishing up. When the 5 minutes are over, ask the selected member from each team to explain the information on their card and present their team's comments. After each team has finished reporting, your job is to clarify or provide additional information. There's a key points box for each activity card in the trainer's guide. The boxes include all the information that should be covered. Refer to these points, but again, try not to read the content word for word. We'll take a few moments now to present the key points for each of the 4 activity cards. This is activity card number 1, losing weight. It states that people who have a BMI of 30 or more can improve their health, feel better, and have more energy by losing weight. The key points are that your healthcare provider can tell you if you should lose weight and help you with a plan to lose weight. The recommendations are that if your BMI is between 18.5 and 24.9, you should try to maintain this healthy weight. If your BMI suggests that you are overweight, which would be 25 to 29.9, or obese, which would be 30 or greater, you should talk to your healthcare provider about a plan to help you lose weight. A large waist circumference may increase your risk for heart disease and diabetes. For men, a large waist would be greater than 40 inches, and for women it would be greater than 35 inches. Activity card number 2 is healthy weight. When you're sharing the key points, state that you and your healthcare provider can decide on the weight loss plans that are best for you, and that the first step is to set a goal. Find your BMI and talk to your healthcare provider to find out what is a healthy weight for you. Plan to lose weight gradually. For example, losing 1/2 to 2 pounds a week is safe, and you can do this by eating less, being more active, or both. Change your eating habits to include smaller amounts of food and choose foods and beverages that are lower in calories. Eat foods that are lower in fats. Eat more vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. Make time in your day for some form of physical activity. You can start by taking the stairs at work or parking at the far end of the lot when shopping. Then you can add some regular physical activity. Walking is something most people can do, and it's very good for you. Replace unhealthy habits with new healthy ones. Your healthcare provider may also prescribe a medication to help you lose weight. Of course, you should also tell your healthcare provider about other medicines you're taking. Last but not least, the key points include the instruction to always talk to the healthcare provider before starting any new exercise program. This is activity card number 3, which is eating healthy. The key points include that healthy eating is all about balance. Enjoy your favorite foods, but have them only once in a while, balancing them with healthier foods and more physical activity. Try to maintain healthy eating habits and physical activity instead of going on a diet. The key points list some tips to share for improving eating habits. Look at what you eat now. Keep a food diary for a few days and write down everything you eat and the time of day you ate it. Also write down how you were feeling, especially if you weren't hungry when you ate. With a better idea of what, when, and why you eat, you can slowly make changes. Start with small changes. Remember, you're trying to make healthy eating part of your life. Small changes are more likely to last. Read the nutrition facts label on food. To make smart food choices quickly and easily, compare the nutrition facts labels on products. Look at the percent daily value column, which is shown as percent DV. The general rule of thumb is that 5% or less is low, and 20% or more is high. Control portion sizes. The label will tell you what the serving size is. Use smaller plates or put less food on your plate. An average serving size of meat should look like a deck of cards. A serving of rice or pasta would be about the size of a hockey puck. Many foods that are packaged as single portions actually contain multiple servings. Control calories and get the most nutrients. Pick foods that have lots of nutrients, like vitamins and minerals. Don't select foods that are high in calories. Some final tips included in the key points section for this activity card include: know what fats are good for you, like olive oil. Choose lean, low-fat, or fat-free foods. Eat fresh or frozen fruits and vegetables. Make sure half of your servings of grains are whole grains, and limit added sugars. Activity card number 4 is about regular physical activity. The key points section for this activity card states that regular physical activity, along with eating the right amount of calories, can help with losing or controlling weight. Other benefits include keeping bones, muscles, and joints healthy, reducing falls, helping relieve arthritis pain, and lowering the risk for colon cancer, diabetes, and high blood pressure. The key points also include that physical activity doesn't have to be hard to be helpful, and it doesn't just mean exercise or sports. Being moderately active has health benefits too. Just 30 minutes of brisk walking 5 or more times a week is good, and it's fine to exercise in short sessions several times a day, or do it all at one time. Being active is good for most people. It can help with more energy and lowering the risk of disease. And it can be a lot of fun. Advise participants to take the first step and stick with it, making physical activity part of everyday life. A very important point to include is the recommendation to talk to their healthcare provider before starting an exercise program or increasing their level of physical activity. He or she can help choose the best plan. Conclude this activity by thanking everyone for their participation. The next topic addresses the importance of having an action plan, and it's item E in the trainer's guide. Distribute an action plan to each participant, then ask each person to review the items on the plan and select one or more items that they'll try to change or improve. The choices on the action plan include seek peace, learn to enjoy the taste of healthy food, keep healthy foods in the house, avoid temptation, never skip meals, learn to enjoy the feeling of moving about, make sure you get your fluids, and try on clothing to check your progress. The key points about the action plan in the trainer's guide recommend that you emphasize the importance of an action plan and how it relates to improving and maintaining a healthy life. Share with participants that lifestyle changes are made one step at a time. Therefore, they should be ready, willing, and able to make changes that will improve their chances for a better and healthier life. Explain that there are 4 questions you would like them to ask themselves based on what they selected on their action plan. They are: what behavior would I like to change? Is it a behavior that I can do? What must I do to achieve this change? And when will I make this change? Ask participants to select their confidence level for the behavior they've chosen to change. Ask them to select a number on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, indicating how confident they feel about completing their action plan. If a participant's confidence level is less than 7, ask him or her to consider an easier plan. Conclude the session by distributing and explaining the Weight Management What You Need to Know handout. Invite the group to ask questions about the handout. Remember to thank the participants for their attendance and participation. Finally, invite them to return to the next session and encourage them to bring a family member or friend. Thank you for your contribution in sharing this important information, and thank you for participating in this training.